Alright, you guys, what it is. Today I am finally back after my 3-month hiatus. I do apologize for that, but I do got another job, and because of that, it's longer hours and stuff, so it takes me a bit more to actually put a video out, because I'm usually tired. I do apologize for that, but I will try and be more consistent about it. And regardless, I just think because it's been so long, we should just go ahead and delve right into this video. And today we will be talking about Taejin Jin, the Master of Renewal. And I ain't gonna lie, I've been waiting to make this video for a minute because I have seen other people scale them stuff. And, and then some of it's a little bit downplay, hype, and everything. I just want to make my own, video, do my own input on it because he's a really cool and badass character in the series, even for the little time that we actually get him on the panel. But regardless of the situation, it doesn't matter. He is kind of like the driving caveat of this whole story. So we're going to get into the video like usual because I have to go into a lot of the webcomic. Of course, spoiler warning, you have been warned. Now, let's get into the video. Now, the main thing I'm going to do to scale him is going to do two things. One, the main scale, which is comparing him to the 6, and then another scale comparing him to the bishops. Now, for this part of it, like I said, we're going to scale him to the 6, which is extremely good in this case for Taejin Jin because the 6 are not to be played with. They are all 6 extremely powerful beings and are implied to being the 6 strongest humans, essentially, on the planet. That's kind of like their whole thing. Now, whether or not you agree with that doesn't matter. Regardless of the situation, we do have pretty concrete scaling for them, such as the fact that we do know, for example, Mujin Park, one of the kind of middle tiers of the 6, is strong enough to the point that in the very beginning of the series, we see that he is capable of destroying entire islands, even from long distances. You know what I'm saying? Consider at the very beginning he was in his office and just summoned this and destroyed the island. So we know that even characters like not Taejin, but Mujin Park, who is already island level and is far weaker than Taejin Jin, already should just be telling where this video is going to go. But even Taejin Jin, like I said, not Taejin, but Mujin Park is only middle tier. And the reason why I say that is because another character by the name of Jason was capable of doing a much greater feat. In a webcomic, we see that at the time, the President of the United States, anyway, shot 567 intercontinental ballistic missiles, all launched at South Korea, where the South Korean minister or president, I'm sorry, blatantly said he's going to wipe Korea off the map. The entirety of South Korea is going to be destroyed by these 567 missiles that were going to be launched, showing that literally just by launching on them was already going to destroy an entire country. Jaeon Seong, not wanting that to happen, and of course, really, as he put it, I'm going to destroy your god, then took all of those missiles, completely disassembled them, and reassembled them using his alchemy, which increased the potency of it, formed it into one missile, okay? Took all of those, formed it into one longer missile, that has enough power to wipe out an entire country, okay? Took all of that by himself, and then, while still doing that, said, something, that's still not going to be enough. He launched at the guy, and the guy still was kind of, because of the taboo at the time, still wasn't working. He's like, oh, that ain't enough to kill my god. He's like, bet, I got something else for you. And then summoned a giant fucking meteor with a meteor shower, okay? Literally just to smack into the missile and increase the overall destructive capacity of it. So that's just showing that literally even Jaeon Seong is capable of summoning country level meteors with ease. Okay, he was able to disassemble all of those country level missiles, or all those missiles that could destroy a country, combine it into one, and then add it on to the attack potency with his alchemy and summoning a giant meteor using magic. All of this at one time. And the reason why this is impressive is because of two things. One, the two people that survived it, which is the main course, which is Mandiok saying who he survived, which will be important later on, and Jeon, who didn't necessarily survive, but he didn't just get completely obliterated by his own attack. Considering the fact that he also placed a giant barrier up that completely contained every last inch of the explosion. So he literally took the full brunt of it and was still at least left standing for at least a short period of time. And was even conscious for a while before finally passing out. So even then you could still argue that it takes at least country levels of force to take him down, which is impressive. Considering the fact that even then he's still not even considered the strongest, which that goes to Eungyeol. Which she proved that she was the strongest when her and the other members of the Six, as I seen, country level plus level fighters and stuff, were capable of fighting Taejin Jin, which Taejin Jin literally obliterated all of them while fighting him at the same time. And Eungyeol was seen as being the last one standing, where the two of them actually had a brawl with each other, which is yet again extremely telling. Now, it's kind of implied that Taejin still could have won, considering she still sees him as a monster and not necessarily someone who is weaker than her. So they could be even, but the reason why this is also important for her scaling is because she fights a clone by the name of Dante. Now, the Dante is meant to be as a vessel for the Jade Emperor when he wants to transfer all of his power into another being to make himself younger again. This same Dante was capable of fighting the Morihjin clone to a standstill for a brief time, and even later on, after taking injury, forced the clone to use Jibonchin times 48 just to be able to fight him after absorbing the other clone. He was even capable of obliterating an entire island yet again on his own, and that was just with the power of him absorbing only two beings. Eungyeol then battles him later on during the Ragnarok arc when they invade the Jade Emperor's castle. And at this point, he has absorbed hundreds of other Dante clones, gaining all of them into himself. And even then, Eungyeol casually obliterated him so badly to the point that after beating him, he literally was begging her to stop. Like she beat him that badly that he begged her to stop, and she just said, "No, fuck you," and then completed to obliterate him some more. So, just saying, and yet again, this is all comparable to Taejin Jin, members of the Six, considering, like I said, he battled all six of them, including a full-powered Eungyeol, and still was seen as a monster compared to all of them, and actually is implied he still was going to win, whether or not, before anyone brings up the Morihjin awakening explosion happened or not. It's implied that he was still going to win, considering even Eungyeol and, I can never say his name, Haliang Ciel, even said, yeah, like, that guy was just an absolute monster. Like, it doesn't even make any sense. So it is kind of implied that he's greater, which shows that even characters that can beat Dante with hundreds of them and island level people like Mujin Park stood absolutely no chance against Taejin Jin, which is absolutely telling. So, just to bring that into reference, okay? The next part of this is the kind of second part, does kind of refer that you go back and look at my God of Fight, my Arden scale, who was the God of Fight. Basically, go back to that because it goes into more details about how this part of the scaling goes for it. But this is kind of just a bit more of a higher end scale on where you can put Taejin Jin, but I do recommend you watch that first. But I'll go over a somewhat brief overview of it, basically. So, the reason why I'm using this scaling is because this scales Taejin Jin to the bishops. Now, bishops are extremely powerful in the verse. They're seen as being kind of like the higher tiers amongst the verse, outside of the gods, of course. And these beings are so powerful, such as the fact that Sujin Lee was capable of battling Morihjin in its base form during the kind of getting his memories back arc. I can never say it, like the Oraguk arc or something like that. And the reason why this is impressive is because she was battling him and actually dealing more damage, and it's even implied that she was more powerful than him. It's just more she lost because Morihjin was more skillful. The reason why this is important is because that same base Morihjin, who was already fatigued and damaged from all of his battles, survived the entire planet exploding on him at point blank range. And the fact that Sujin Lee was capable of damaging him and seen as being more powerful shows that even Sujin Lee could arguably be scaled in that planetary ranges of power. And like I said, even if she's not even seen as being the strongest bishop goes more towards Zhao Chen and Romario, who, like I said, he dies. But for this situation, we know that Zhao Chen is more powerful, considering she was fearful of even fighting Zhao Chen and seeing her as dangerous. Another one to scale to is, yet again, Mandiok, who we see actually battled Zhao Chen briefly during the Ragnarok arc, and later on, 17 years later, after the Ragnarok arc had happened. And in this situation, both Zhao Chen and Mandiok had essentially lost a lot of power and were far from their prime. But the reason why this is important is just the fact that they actually had a somewhat even battle. And the reason why this is important is because Zhao Chen at this point has actually, even though she lost power, she's been training under Daewoo for this 17 years and learning, being more skillful, and being better in her martial arts skill. So it's implied that she's been going through training while Mandiok hasn't. And even still, Mandiok still kind of talks down to her, and they're still seen as being somewhat even. So it could be implied that even back in their prime, Mandiok was actually stronger than she was. So just saying, regardless, I think for the sake of this video, we'll just say that they were still relative to one another, which is important because, yet again, Sujin Lee was seen as being weaker than Zhao Chen, and Zhao Chen and Mandiok are even. Yet again, since it's in its prime, we see that a one-armed Taejin Jin was actually capable of boxing this full-powered Mandiok, who, like I said, should be comparable to Zhao Chen, who is stronger than Sujin Lee, who should be scaled to being around planetary level for the most part. And yet again, Taejin Lee was actually capable of going toe-to-toe with him and didn't seem like he was weaker than or less than. Which is also backed up by the fact that it is implied that, or actually blatantly stated by Mujin Park, that it takes at least 3 members of the 6 to barely defeat one bishop. But immediately after making that statement, King Uma arrives and is capable of battling the bishops on her own, also in their full power state. King Uma was a powerful character who was only defeated. It's kind of weird how her power scaling is, but it's kind of implied that she was defeated only because she was battling one of the first heavenly realm gods, being Michael, and Garuda stepped in and kind of interfered in the fight, and that's why she lost. Yet again, she was capable of fighting planet plus level gods. So, just saying. So in terms of actual scaling, you could really say if you only compare him to the 6, you should, at bare minimum, he should be anywhere between continental to maybe multi-continental if you scale him, depending on how badly you tend to say that he defeated the members of the 6. But at bare minimum, you can't really go below continental, considering there's many scalings for Jaeseon's feat, scaling him to being that feat alone, being large country to continental, and he clearly is much stronger than that, and even Eungyeo's considered much stronger than that. So at bare minimum, he has to be around continental. And like I said, on the kind of higher end, you could say because he bodied all of them seemingly quite easily, that you could even say continental plus multi-continental. But if you scale him to the bishops, you could really put him around multi-continental to planetary ranges of power. Showing that, yeah, even Taejin Jin, the fucking monster that he is, isn't much weaker than some of the higher tier characters in the series. He's still a really powerful character. Now, if you enjoyed the video, I would really like a like and subscribe. And of course, comment down below. I tend to respond to pretty much all of my comments and stuff. I like to have fun, go through debates and stuff. So if you like my content and stuff, then please like and subscribe. And I promise I will try and be more consistent and do more scaling, because I do got a few more video topics coming up. So be on the lookout for those. And until next time, you guys, I'll see you. Peace.